says that do not say he was crucified. They neither killed him, they meaning the children of Israel, they neither killed him nor crucified him, but rather, and this is really ambiguous even in the Arabic, it was made to appear to them so. I just translated the Arabic.
What does that mean?
It was made to appear to them so. Now, that's what the Quran says. Muslim exegetes, and this is not from the Quran, this is their interpretation. So I don't consider their interpretation to be divine, but yes, we are sympathetic to it. I am sympathetic to it. Muslim exegetes have interpreted that Jesus was not crucified nor even placed on the cross, but rather that God saved him. Now this is an interpretation that is mainstream. And they claim, this is not from the Quran, as I said, this is from later Muslim historians and theologians. They claim that Judas, the traitor, was punished by God to resemble Jesus, so that when the Roman soldiers entered the garden, they saw Judas the traitor and they assumed him to be Jesus, and they killed and crucified him, and that's a befitting end to a traitor. And so people assumed that Jesus had been crucified. And that's what the Quran says, it was made to appear to them so. Muslims believe, now this is the shocker that every time I say this, Christians are like, what, you guys believe this? Muslims believe, not only did Jesus was not killed nor was he crucified, he's still alive right now. Muslims believe Jesus is alive and he shall come back towards the end of times. And his return is going to signal one of the last great signs, and the great Armageddon and Judgment Day will come after his coming back. Muslims are looking forward to Jesus' return, because when Jesus comes back, we believe his soldiers and his army will be us Muslims. We believe we will follow Jesus Christ, and we also believe, and this is in the hadith or the sunnah of the Prophet, that every true Christian will then recognize that they were incorrect in the Trinity and then follow Jesus as well. Right. So we actually believe Muslims and Christians will not fight against one another in the Armageddon, contrary to what some strands of Christianity are preaching. We believe that there's going to be a pagan, or Ya'juj and Ma'juj, a little bit advanced, I mean, a foreign or a paganistic groups of people with the Antichrist behind them, and Muslims and Christians will be monotheists fighting behind Jesus Christ. So this is the respect and honor we give Jesus. Jesus is of the mightiest prophets and messengers, but from the Islamic perspective, he's not in any shape, fashion, or form divine.
This is really important because he brought up Surah 4:157, which is what Qadi was quoting. And I want to address that in just a minute to add one, from a even a historical standpoint. But let me just add one more thing to Surah 3:54. One of the 99 names that is given to Allah in the Quran is this name of Allah Khairul Makrin. Allah is the chief of the deceivers. He is the highest of the deceivers. So what's the context again? I'm just building on what Brother Usama said. This is really critical. The context is to the Muslims. Hey Muslims, Allah is such a good deceiver that he perpetrated the greatest hoax in human history. What's the greatest hoax in human history? The crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Never happened. So now that ties to Surah 4:157. Never happened. Now, here's the problem though, Brandon. The problem for Mr. White, and again, I agree with Usama, White should have stopped him at that point and made it very clear. Mr. Qadi, we understand you believe that, but we are sitting in a church, and I have to make it very clear to you that you are refuting the Bible and you are refuting Christ. So, in Surah 4:157, not only is that refuting the Bible, but it's refuting secular history. So Josephus, Jewish historian, speaks of the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth. Tacitus, a Roman historian, speaks of the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth. Lucian, who's a Greek satirist, spoke of the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth. Pliny, who's a governor, he was a Roman governor, Pliny the Younger. He spoke of the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth. So we have multiple sources outside the Bible that say Jesus of Nazareth was crucified. They may not agree he's God, but they say he was crucified. Along comes the Quran, 600 years later, according to supposedly the angel Gabriel, who apparently got Alzheimer's and forgot what he had told to the Christians and to Mary, when he said to Mary, you are going to have a child, you're going to call him Emmanuel, God with us, and now claims it's false. So this is a critical point. This is now, can I quickly read one more thing here? In 1 John 4, verse 1, Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God. And every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of Antichrist, of which you have heard that is coming, and now it is already in the world. So let me break it down and build on the incredible job that Osama did. James White participated in dialogue with an Antichrist spirit. He never corrects it. He never refutes it, either during the event, either the next night in the mosque, or subsequently. He is engaging with a spirit of Antichrist that denies Jesus Christ has come in the flesh and was crucified. Brother Brannon, what, as Paul said, you cannot sit in Corinthians, you cannot sit at the table of the Lord and the table of demons at the same time. What are we doing talking about interfaith dialogue? What are we doing talking about dialogue, period? What dialogue are we talking about? He is denying Christ, and James White participated in it.
And what is said, Brother Brennan, what is said? The church in the end of all that, clap hands. Because they are duped, like James White is duped into this propaganda of dialogue. In every dialogue we ever have seen in America, in all the liberal churches, the Muslims always deny the deity of Christ. They always deny the death and the resurrection of Christ, and the church will not correct them. What a wicked way to stand in a church or sit in the church. Where is the believers in the church? Was there any Christian believers, a born-again Christian, to stand up in the spot? Excuse me, Mr. White. Excuse me, Sheikh Yasser. We will not allow this to be taught here. You're not speaking against my president or against some elder in the church or some members of our deacons board. You're speaking against my God, my Lord, my Savior, Jesus Christ. This needs to stop here right now. We will not allow this meeting to go for another second. But you know what? In all the churches where wicked, ungodly ministers open their floor, open their pulpit to some ungodly Muslim imam to go to mock Christianity, to mock our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ, to mock his deity, his death, burial, resurrection, not one church have yet in this foolish country of America will stand up, not a member in the church will stand up and say, excuse me, this meeting must be adjourned right now and it's over. We're not going to have any tolerance with that trash in God's house as I'm alive here. It's sad, Brother Brennan. You see this happening all the time and nobody stop it, nobody. And here now the leaders, James White, are doing the same thing like the rest of the liberals of America.
Well, that's very true. And I'm wondering if James White isn't becoming more and more of a neo-Calvinist, part of the neo-Calvinist movement that we've warned about many, many times.